What's going on YouTube? We are back again with another guide. I'm going to go ahead and help you all complete the Halloween dungeon event. Now this is for the players who are just coming back for the new season pass and hasn't completed any of the Halloween event yet, or those who are struggling trying to get through the dungeon and just can't get through it. Well, today I'm going to provide a complete guide from start to finish as I progress through the dungeon myself and show you exactly step by step what you should do in the dungeon. Now, after watching this entire video, you should know exactly how to complete the dungeon on your first attempt. Let's go ahead and get into the video. All right, the first thing you need to realize is you need candy corn in order to unlock the chest at the very end. Now, in order to get the candy corn, you have to go to the peddler. Remember in my previous video where I said that the peddler is located on the west bridge of Vienta Village almost every single day. So make sure you check for him and look for him. He's going to have a little Christmas gift box, and then you can go ahead and click on him and then he will have the corn. So that is not a guide I'm going to make for you guys in this particular video because all this is about is completing the dungeon. So let's go ahead and get into the dungeon. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and do party matchmaking on random because I can do this on random with a random group. So let's go ahead and do this. I'm going to be a DPS. As you guys can see, my current score right now is 2190. Now this is all free to play. I do buy the battle pass, but I don't consider that pay to win because I don't buy anything other than the battle pass. Now the matchmaking is going to populate quickly because it's an event and a lot of people usually do it daily. All right, so we just got pulled into the dungeon. I'm going to go ahead and walk you through it. Now most people in the very beginning have already done this dungeon, so what they're going to do is run through the first two rooms. Like I said, if you're in the front, you're going to get stunned, so just keep moving through the room. Now the goal here in this next room is to find the key under one of the pumpkins. So hopefully you get it right the first time and you don't have to get a lot of pumpkin enemies. But if you get it wrong, scarecrow pumpkins pop up and then you have to actually avoid them as they're hitting you. And I don't want too many of them hitting you because they do a lot of damage. All right, so one of our teammates found the key out of one of the pumpkins. So let's go ahead and move to the door. Once we move to the door, we're going to head into the pumpkin. Now the goal is to do it fast because a lot of people don't like waiting around because a lot of the pumpkins do a lot of damage. So there's going to be a activation lever somewhere that pops up. And there you go, the activation device. And then once the device is activated, the pumpkin moves across. And if you're left behind like that guy right there, you can fly up on these pumpkins. They have like little hooks on them. So there's little hooks right here. You see one hook right and another hook. You can fly across if you miss the pumpkin wagon. Now another pumpkin has a key here. This is the first of the 3 keys. Once that key is brought to the pumpkin, then it'll be 1 out of 3. But if the pumpkin is, exploded because of the enemies in the way, which your goal as a DPS player is to get rid of these enemies and try to distract them so somebody doesn't lose that pumpkin in the hand. So the other guy basically got the pumpkin destroyed out of his hand, so that's why he picked up it again, and he's moving to the pumpkin slot. All right, so now we got 1 out of 3 pumpkins because he put it in the pumpkin slot. Now the other pumpkins are going to be in here. Now there usually is a symbol that shows you which pumpkins have the key, and this pumpkin has the key. All right, so we grab one of the pumpkins and we move to the door. Now the door has a timer on it. See, the door is closed now, but I can't open the door because I have a pumpkin. So somebody else without a pumpkin in their hand has to open the door for you. See how I got hit? Yeah. You see how I got hit with the pumpkin in my hand? It basically exploded the pumpkin in my hand and I basically took a lot of damage. So you want to basically avoid getting killed by these monsters right here. So like I said, as a DPS player, you need to take out these monsters first so the people that are carrying the pumpkins can have a safe passage. Now, our random group players did not do this, so I'm going to have to do it for the people who are holding the pumpkins and not hold the pumpkins myself. But you guys get the point. I realize that we don't have a healer. That's the only reason why I'm getting hooked like this. Okay, here you go. The healer is over here not healing anybody but himself, which is a terrible healer, but you get what you choose, right? When you're doing random groups. Since we weren't over here at the beginning, there are knights that usually stand up there on that staircase, and then what you're going to need to do is kill those knights before you can go to the room. All right, Now there's going to be two little floating pumpkins that's going to do damage to you. So you have to block when their rage comes up like this, right? Block, and then you can move over to the next side. Now, if you don't block in time, it will basically fly you out of the pumpkin wagon, and then you're going to have to fly across. Now, this area, you're going to have to kill all the enemies here because this is the first area for the boss. So we're going to go ahead and focus on the archers if we can. Usually, if you have a good tank like we do right here, he's going to drag all of the enemies in one spot so you can kill them all at the same time. Now, if you don't have a good tank that's on a random group, then you, like I said, just kill all of the enemies and that'll be fine. Now, here's the boss, okay? Now, the boss has a few mechanics. I'm going to go ahead and explain it to you as I am fighting the boss. So, first mechanic is he's going to throw out these little pumpkins. So, if it's chasing you, just try to run into one of these little crosses and then it will freeze it there and then you'll be okay. Now, it's highly recommended to have a healer on the group. Now, another mechanic is that cone of fire. Make sure you get out of the cone. It will print itself on the floor. It'll be like a little red cone, and then you just move out of that way. It's really simple to keep an eye on, right? Now, look, if there's a bouncing pumpkin, just run and try to dodge it. All right, so that's done. So those are pretty much all the mechanics that you have to worry about. Here's the room where the big pumpkins run, and there's only two big pumpkins. So what you're going to need to do is go from door to door. Okay, once you go from door to door, those two guys are about to die right there. All right, so once you go door to door is the safest passage. Okay, don't do what these guys are going to do. All right, especially that guy. Now, if you end up making it to the second door, you can make it to the second door. I highly recommend not doing that so you can avoid getting killed. All right, so we're gonna go ahead and move 2 doors on this attempt, right? 2 doors on this attempt. That way you're able to get through it. Now I wouldn't do what he's doing. He's about to die. Oh, he made it. Okay, cool. So if you make it, that's great, because that's what we're about to do together. About to make it, and we're both made it. Now, the first person to make it gives like a little buff. So if you don't make it the first time, that's okay. It doesn't really matter. The buff is not that much of a difference. It just gives you additional buff. Now, once the first person goes through that door, those pumpkins, those big pumpkins, go away, and then everybody can just easily run to the boss. Okay. Now, the mechanics here are pretty simple. He will pull you in, and then he will do 2 rings, an inner ring and then an outer ring. So once you avoid the inner ring, just go back inside once it disappears, and then you should be able to avoid the outer ring. Now, watch out for the fire waves on the floor. If he's doing the fire waves, just avoid them. They don't you don't do too much damage, but if you end up taking a lot of damage, just try to avoid them. All right, so this is another mechanic. He's going to drop lanterns on the ground. So just go ahead and shoot those lanterns towards him like you see everybody doing. And then once the lanterns are towards him, they explode, and then he's stunned, okay? Now, if you don't do the lanterns in time, he won't be stunned, and then he will keep up that little barrier of his, and you can still do damage to him, but he will take less damage. So the goal is to stun him so you can do as much damage as possible. All right, he's pulling us in. So the 2 rings again, inner and then outer, and then come back in and attack him. Now, this mechanic is glowing little pumpkins. You have to get into the glowing pumpkins. If you don't get into the glowing pumpkins or find one, you will get one-shotted. Like this person right here, since he's not a boss, or he might be a tank. He might be a tank. Yeah, so he's a tank, so he can survive that. If you don't have a lot of score or gear score of like over 3,000, you're probably gonna get one-shotted. So keep that in mind. Just be safe and just go through the glowing pumpkins and avoid that one-shot mechanic. All right, he's going to do another one-shot mechanic. Now, this mechanic, he's going to turn you into a fly. Now, the goal of this is to dodge his little attack, and if you don't, you will get stunned, like I got stunned there. I made it. But if your goal is to make it to the green circle. If you don't make it to the green circle in time, he's going to do this final little mechanic right here. And then if you're not in the green circle and turn back into a human, you will get one-shotted out there. He's gonna pull us in to two rings again, inner, and then outer. Dodge his rage. All right, to inner again, and then outer. So once you understand these mechanics, you can continuously run this dungeon with no problem. Like I said, after watching this video, you guys should know exactly how to get through this dungeon without worrying about not being able to complete it. All right, he's going to do those lanterns again. Find those lanterns and then shoot them towards the enemy. Okay, see, look, these guys missed it. So now he's got that little barrier, okay? That's fine. Like I said, he's going to take damage, but he's not going to take a lot of damage. So don't worry about it if you don't get the barrier down. You can still do damage to him. Dodge it. All right. And break the barrier. Did that same mechanic, inner, and then outer, and back in again. Up, glowing pumpkins again. There we go. We got the glowing pumpkin. So now we're a pumpkin, and we shall wait. Now, if you're not a pumpkin, like I said before, you will get one-shotted if you're not a tank or a strong player. That guy one-shotted, as you guys can see. All right. But don't worry if you die. With this boss, you can come back into the fight. All you got to do is fly back in like he's doing right there. And he's back in. He can get into the fight again. Did that mechanic again. Inner and outer. All right. He was about to do the fly mechanic again, but we killed him. See? So it basically pulled us, but we're good. All right, and we got the rewards again, and that is about it. So if you guys enjoyed this quick guide of how to do this dungeon, make sure you hit that like button and subscribe if you're new to the channel. If this helped you out, you should know exactly what to do now, and your first attempt should be smooth. I hope that's it. And if you guys got any more questions, let me know in the comments below, and I will be dropping another guide shortly, either tomorrow or the day after, pretty much tomorrow, about the new updates and changes. All right, so I'll catch you guys in the next one. Peace.